Hola, ¿qué tal? ¿Cómo están? En esta ocasión les quiero compartir una entrevista en la cual tuve el honor de participar con unos amigos míos que viven en Estados Unidos, que se llaman Chris y Daniel Leake. Ellos son hermanos, se dedican a dar consultoría en Estados Unidos, tanto de cómo vender en Amazon como en general de cómo hacer crecer los negocios de las personas. La entrevista está en inglés, entonces, bueno, si se te complica el idioma o no lo dominas muy bien, pues te recomiendo que actives los subtítulos para que puedas tú disfrutar el contenido, ¿no? Durante el video lo que sucede es que ellos me están haciendo preguntas sobre lo que estoy haciendo en mis negocios y qué retos estoy enfrentando actualmente. Entonces, pues con base en esas preguntas que ellos me van haciendo, van saliendo respuestas que yo voy dando puedes notar que yo mismo me voy contestando muchas cosas. Al final de la entrevista, a la conclusión a la que llego, y lo puedes ver, es que la razón lo que me está deteniendo actualmente en mi negocio para poder realmente escalar y crecer es el miedo al éxito. Y yo creo que es un miedo que a muchos de ustedes también les puede afectar. Entonces yo creo que te puede servir mucho para identificarte y para poder ver cómo combatirlo, ¿no? Espero sea de tu agrado y pues como siempre tus comentarios serán más que bienvenidos. Y pues como puedes ver mi nivel de inglés no es muy alto, no obstante es suficiente para poderme comunicar y eso es lo importante, ¿no? Antes me daba miedo hablar en inglés, como que me daba mucha inseguridad porque al final pues no es mi lengua materna, no es mi lengua nativa, y tampoco la practico mucho. La verdad es que hablo 2 o 3 veces al año inglés, cuando mucho, cuando asisto a conferencias en Estados Unidos. Entonces, pues no es algo que practique en el día a día, ¿no? No obstante, puedes ver que es suficiente, ¿no? Entonces eso yo creo que también te puede ayudar a ti para motivarte, para ver que no necesitas dominar un idioma al 100% para poder comunicarte. Y no olvides suscribirte al canal y activar las notificaciones para pues recibir un correo electrónico o una notificación en tu celular cada vez que publico un nuevo video. ¿Ok? Nos estamos viendo muy pronto. Saludos.
So this is our second hot seat webinar, hot seat interview that we're doing here on the Leake Brothers Facebook page. And I'm really excited about this one. We have with us today Hector Sosa. And Hector is a friend of ours that we met at a business conference. And he is a really cool entrepreneur. And this interview especially is going to be near and dear to my heart because Hector is from Mexico. He lives in Mexico City. And many of you know that I spent some number of years living down in Mexico, and I absolutely love that country and really miss it. And so it's super fun to have Hector on here today, coming to us live from Mexico. So Hector, welcome.
Thank you very much. It's a real honor and a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
So Daniel, you are carrying the conversation for a minute while I share this.
All right. Well, let's do a quick refresher again about what these hot seats are. We mentioned this, but we mentioned this before on the first one we did. If this is the first time you're tuning in, either live or on the replay, then our goal here is to help Hector and anybody else that gets on the hot seat with us be able to address any challenge that they want to. And Chris and I are here to help facilitate questions and to do that a lot more than in really offering any kind of consulting or any kind of services or anything like that. We're really just here to help be fresh eyes and new eyes for someone and be able to ask questions. We like to say that we question assumptions. And so if somebody says, is facing a challenge, a lot of the times it's because they've already assumed to themselves that something is a certain way or isn't a certain way or can be done or can't be done. And our job here is really just to help ask questions and facilitate a conversation and a dialogue between the individual, who today's Hector, in the hot seat, and the challenges that they're facing. And a little bit kind of deeper is Chris and I have some assumptions about people and the way things are and the way things should be. And one of the things that we believe is that people are meant to break through the barriers, that we aren't meant to have barriers, and that we're meant to be able to break through those if we face them. and that words have power and our mind has power. And so we are here to bring about or help bring about and help facilitate and kind of be messengers of change and help answer questions, or ask questions and help a person answer them to themselves. And hopefully some of the questions we ask resonate and how it can help bring about that change. This is our second one, so we'll see how it goes. Maybe some of the questions we ask won't be that good for Hector. Maybe they'll be good. And then what you'll notice as we go along this way is that Chris and I are keeping some notes separate. So Hector, for you, at the end of this, by today or tomorrow, we will be giving you some of the questions that we asked today, just kind of as a refresher to you, to be able to go back through and help ask yourself again, or tuck them away and bring them back out in a little bit, in a week or a couple of weeks, just to kind of help remember if there was any, if there was any breakthrough that started to happen or like shuddering or changing or, barriers getting broken. We think it's good to revisit that and be able to go back to the place. A lot of times we end up kind of on the top and we're like, oh yeah, this is awesome, this is great. And then reality sets in tomorrow and we're like, oh, but it still is hard. So now you can pull those questions back out and ask them yourself, because there's not anything magic or, anything that Chris and I are doing. They're just questions that will come up through the conversation, and then you can help lead your own way as you continue. So there's the introduction.
Thank you. Yeah. Awesome.
Yep. So yeah, we're excited to dive into this conversation. And by the way, as we do this too, I want to give a special shout out to our Mexican friends who are watching this, who are connected to Hector. So bienvenidos a nuestros amigos mexicanos. Estamos bien agradecidos de que estén con nosotros en esta entrevista. Entonces, gracias por estar con nosotros y muchas bendiciones a todos sus negocios.
Muchas gracias, Chris. Sí, pero mucha gente va a estar viendo esto en español porque compartí esta entrevista en mi canal de YouTube, de Facebook, ¿no? En la página de Facebook y posteriormente en el canal de YouTube. Entonces, muchas gracias, Chris, por esta oportunidad.
Sí, cómo no. So we'll do the rest of this in English for the benefit of our American and not Spanish-speaking followers of Leake Brothers here. But what Hector was just commenting is that he is going to load this up to his Facebook page or YouTube channel later on, the recording, so that his audience down in Mexico can check out this interview as well. So we're super excited about that. Yeah. So Hector, to get us started here, why don't you go ahead and just take a minute and tell everybody briefly, like what is your business? What is it that you're doing?
Yeah, sure. Well, basically, I build online businesses. I've been doing it for the last 6 or 7 years now. I was I'm a former employee. The traditional jobs. I had several jobs for more than a decade, and then I started to look for additional ways to build income online, because I wanted to live on my own terms and to be able to decide what to do every day. And I knew that one of the best ways to do that was building online businesses. So that's why I started to do back in 2011, if I remember right. Okay. And I finally quit my job, my real job, so to speak, 3 years ago. And since then, I've been focusing entirely on my own businesses. For example, selling on Amazon is one of them, one of my biggest income streams. I've been selling on Amazon for about 4 years now, and it's been an awesome experience, and I'm really happy because of that. That was the very first business I was able to really expand, and it allowed me to quit my job basically because I was earning as much money on Amazon that I was making as an employee back in 2015. Yeah. Yeah. 6 months after I started selling on Amazon, I was earning almost the same amount in profits.
Cool.
So yeah, that was when I realized that, wow, this works. I can do it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, that's, I just want to pause and highlight that for a second. So first of all, congratulations. And for those of you watching this, I know we've got people kind of in all different stages of entrepreneurship. Some of you who have been, running your own businesses for years and are trying to grow and get to the next level. And, some of you who are just now like, man, I really want to build a business. I want to do something. So here's Hector, who started, a number of years ago. And then about 3 years ago, you said, right, was able to leave your job, leave your employment because you were making as much money from your online business as you were making in your employment.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's right. And 5 years ago, I started write a blog. I started to write on a blog called Adiós a tu Jefe, which is something like goodbye to your boss or something like that in English. And well, it basically started as a hobby and as a way to share my journey on this. Over the years, I've been sharing all my experiences, all the things I've learned along the way. And later on, well, it was funny because this a few days later, I quit my job. A company, an enterprise called me to ask me to make a partnership with them on my blog because they realized that it had a lot of traffic, and they saw an opportunity to make a partnership with me. So I started to build relationships with several financial institutions and companies since then, and now it has been well. It is now my main income stream.
The blog is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the blog.
Okay.
Yeah, it has. It has like more than 65 users each month at this moment.
Okay, 65,000. More than 65,000 users a month. Okay,
that's great.
Yeah,
cool. Yeah. How are those people finding your blog?
Most of them are maybe using Google. It's organic traffic. Basically, it's organic by Google. 80 or 85% of the traffic is like that. And the other 15-20% is direct search or social media, YouTube channel. Yeah.
Okay. That's awesome. And is most of your traffic from Mexico?
Yeah, but like 90% of my traffic is in Mexico. Yeah, it's really focused in Mexico.
Yeah. So, I want to highlight that too, because you said that blog started off as a hobby, right?
Yeah.
And that was about 5 years ago?
Yeah, almost 5 years ago, I started writing because I was building online websites for another people, which was the very first income that I achieved to earn by my own. Doing online businesses, I started to create online websites and such things like that for other people. And then I realized that I could make one for my own. So,
Gotcha. So you so people listening to this either live or on the recording are getting some tips here. And I know we're not diving into a lot of questions about your business yet, but for the benefit of those listening, we're getting some great ideas of income streams here, because you're talking about selling physical products on Amazon as an income stream. And Daniel and I can vouch for the fact that that's a great business. You have this blog that's your primary income stream now. And then you said the first thing you were doing was you started building websites for other businesses, right? And getting paid to do that. Yeah.
Correct.
So, so a few different, any other things that you had mentioned that you've done to earn online income?
Yeah, well, I build online courses. I've been selling an online course for to teach people to sell on Amazon, basically.
Okay.
In Spanish. I've been selling it for about 3 years and a half now. It's another income stream. Last year, I self-published my first book about investments, how to manage your money wisely and make it grow efficiently. And it is now a bestseller on Amazon Mexico. I didn't expect that actually, but yeah, it's another income stream.
Okay.
And,
wow.
Yeah, that's I think that's pretty much maybe 95% of my incomes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So this blog that started as a hobby, this book that has become a bestseller on Amazon Mexico that you didn't necessarily expect. So Daniel, as I'm listening to Hector here, I'll tell you one thing that immediately jumps to mind with that blog is that started 5 years ago, and here you are still doing it, right? So there's something about sticking with it, right?
Yeah, and I remember at the beginning it was not quite popular. I actually had a few hundred visits per month, but I keep publishing content, and eventually it started to be able to find it through Google. You know, SEO. I started to learn about how to do SEO and how to really achieve the three first places. I don't know how to say it, but to rank my website for a lot of keywords on Google.
Yep. So you got really good organic search rankings on Google for some of your top keywords.
So far you have described even though all of this is within like the entrepreneurial field, you've described like education product, like course product, info content, physical product, deliverables, like with the website, actual design and building. Have there, along all of this, are there other businesses that you have tried? That's a pretty big plate. Are there other businesses over the 5 years that you've tried and for some reason they aren't around anymore?
Well, actually, I'm trying at this very moment to build live events. I partnered. Okay. We made the first one last year at December, and it was really a nice experience. We didn't make any money, but it went out pretty well, and we're planning to make it again this year at June, and I think it has a huge potential. It's about investments too. People who want to invest money. So we get together platforms, investing platforms with people who want to invest in one place, and we charge to the people for their tickets, and we charge the the sponsors. And that's a way to not only make money but to really build an audience around it. And I think that's a big challenge for us right now, but I think we're gonna do it just fine. But on the past, of course, I tried several things and I failed. I started trying to make quick money online, building websites and trying to get false links, backlinks, doing black hat techniques on Google too, but that didn't work. It was basically for fun. I was trying to build a huge website about creepypasta stories yeah, something like that.
The-
Because I realized it had a lot of traffic, and so. But the funny thing is, I don't like it, the creepypasta story, so it didn't work. Went out. Well, waste of time and money. Yeah, I tried to sell physical products from China, but I failed too because I didn't know how to sell them through Amazon yet. So I tried to do it on my own website, and it didn't work. Several things like that. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I love it. I love it. You've there's a lot that you've done and tried, and a lot that you have going on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. For example, I have a website about traveling that I started almost at the same time that my blog Adiós, Jefe, and it was intended to sell traveling guides or travel guides, but no, I was unable to sell not even one. I didn't sell anything, any guides. Yeah,
but you tried.
Yeah, I tried. That's the way it is. You have to keep trying. Maybe not everything at once, but you have to.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Well, let's dig in here a little bit with, kind of, so we've gotten kind of an overview of, where you've been and where you're at now. What would you say, you mentioned to us privately, kind of where you see is like, sort of the biggest challenge or two that you're facing right now as far as taking the next steps forward and growing your business. So let's kind of start digging in there. So what would you say is the biggest challenge that you'd like us to dig in on for growing your business right now?
Well, I think one of the biggest challenges I have at this point is building a team that allows me to focus on the things that I'm the only one who can do. Because at this point I still do a lot of editing and writing on my blog, and I answer all the comments on my blog, on my YouTube channel, everything. I still do most of my activities. I partnered with a friend to help me on the Amazon side, the packing, shipping stuff. But still, it is a challenge for me to really focus on the important, because I have not built a team yet. And well, I know what I should be doing because I know that for example, I see a lot of potential doing podcasts and expanding my audience, doing things like this, webinars, live streamings, and so on. But I don't have the time because I have a lot of other activities that I still.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. So we're going to start throwing some questions at you, and you don't need to have any kind of answers for us to these questions. These questions are for your process of thinking things through. And for those watching this, same thing. You can ask yourself these types of questions about your own business. So, all right. So you're talking about one of the greatest challenges you're facing right now is that you want to grow a team so that you can focus on the most important things in your business. Why? So here's the first question. Why do you want to grow that team and focus on the most important things in your business?
Well, because I know I could impact a lot of more people that I'm doing at this point. And because I found my message, and I think a lot of people could benefit from it. But so that's why I think I should be focusing on expanding my audience and my reach.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Why does it matter to you to impact more people?
Well, because Basically, I through these 5 years now, I've received hundreds or if not thousands of comments about how my content or how the things I write or tell people have changed their lives for the better. So I think that that's my calling, and I should be focusing on that. It's something that I can't help doing. That's a really strong opportunity because I think I'm really privileged. I have the privilege to really help people to improve their lives, because the things I do on my blog and my content is to teach people how to generate additional income streams and how to have a right mindset to do business, and that eventually could help them to leave their jobs if they want. Because and that's something that I never found when I was starting 5 years ago, and I don't know anyone who is doing it here in Mexico at this moment.
You don't know anyone who's doing what you're doing as far as helping people build online businesses and leave their jobs?
Yeah, not with the same approach, because I've been there when, in that, I've been stuck in a traditional job. I was struggling to find different ways to generate additional income streams. So I know how it feels to be like trapped in a job. And I was lucky enough to escape that, the rat race, so to speak. And I know that I can help a lot of people to achieve the same.
How do you think you could help more people if your time was more freed up?
Basically focusing on generate more content. I should be creating more content than I am at this point. For example, writing, publishing new books, making great connections and building relationships with more people, doing webinars, speaking, all focused on expanding my audience and my reach to share my message. I think that's the best use of my time at this point.
Okay. Let's, because Daniel and I, kind of like to question everything, and that's part of our process here. Why do you feel like you should create more content?
Well, I think that a lot of people is looking for answers at this very moment. For example, on Google, on YouTube, and they are not finding them. And I know that I can answer most of that questions. For example, on these topics, I could add value to a lot of people. So for example, if I Google how to build an online business here in Mexico, the very first results, the search results I get, are not answering this question as good as I could, or at least as I think I could.
Daniel, jump in if you have a question at this point. I'm formulating another question. Go for it, Daniel.
Are you worried at all? Is there any fear or worry that if you don't fill that somebody else will, and you will have lost an opportunity?
Well, it's not like a fear of missing out or something like that. It's because I know the opportunity will be here, and because I think this opportunity is maybe it's going to be there for the next 10 years from now. But I think that specifically on podcasting, I really think that kind of fear that I'm really missing the boat at this point. Only on podcasting and maybe on Instagram, but not because someone else would enter and doing, but because the technology will advance and maybe we'll lose the chance. Maybe,
okay.
Yeah.
Do you think that you're the best? Are you the best person within like people you know in your organization to actually produce that content? Or another way to ask it, I guess, is there somebody else that could produce the content instead of you?
Well, I really don't see. Well, that's a good question because, of course, it is possible to build a team and to create content that other people makes and just add it to my platforms. But maybe I have not met the right people to do it at this point.
So meaning like like content creation is like a spectrum, you know, from like I have an idea in my head and then I write it down or I record it and then I clean it up a little bit and then I get it ready for the platform and then I actually put it on the platform. So like you would probably agree that like actually copy paste to the platform or whatever, anybody could do that, right?
Yeah. Sure.
And way over here, like actually coming up with the content or the idea, like that's especially your speciality, right? Like that's why you're you. That's why people come to your blog and they write that you're so helpful, is because this is what they're coming to hear, is the thing, the idea that you had, that's where it started, is in your brain, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So right now, are you doing this whole spectrum from like, I think of the idea, I create it, I polish it, blah, 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 all the way to push it?
I'm doing all by myself and everything, including editing, which is a real pain, as you may know.
So if it took...
We do know.
As a matter of fact. Which of these for you takes the most time?
Well, I think the editing process and the recording sometimes. Writing takes a lot of time because I really need like 3 good hours, straight hours, to really focus and getting in a state of flow to create a really good piece of content.
What do you do to get you in that flow? Like, what does it take for you to get in that flow?
Well, basically, I start coming up with different ideas about what I would like to write about, and then just put some music, close my door, ask my wife and my little baby to don't interrupt me for a couple of hours, and listening music, I start writing and editing. It's, you know, the writing process, it's as far as I know, a thing of practice. You need to practice it, and you need to be willing to rewrite some of your previous content sometimes, because there is always a better way to do it, and that's maybe a thing that I struggle, because sometimes I want it too perfect, you know. Maybe I could write faster, but not with the same quality, of the same clarity. But I really struggle because I want it to be so clear, so to the point, that I really, sometimes it takes hours to build maybe a 2,000 words post.
Mm-hmm. So the reason for the more content is you want to reach more people. Did we hear that correctly?
Yeah. And of course, to make more money, because I know that the more I write, the more content I build, the more I could monetize that content.
Mm-hmm.
As I told previously, I have several partnerships with maybe 15 financial institutions. I do my reviews about my experience investing on or using their platforms, and I have a to-do list for at least 15 other financial institutions that I have not published yet because I have no time, basically.
Right. Okay. By the way, a couple shout outs to people watching us here. We got Adam on. Welcome. We have Monica watching. Welcome, Monica. Thanks for being here with us, guys. All right. So you want to reach more people and obviously generate more income. And you see content as the road for doing that. And if content is indeed the road for doing that, and by the way, we're not saying that it's not, like we just poke around and ask questions, and there's like, we don't have any agenda with any questions that we ask. We're just poking around and asking them,
Sure.
you know, to make sure that we're making the main thing, right? If content creation is indeed like the thing that you need to do, then obviously what you're saying is right now you're doing this entire process from start to finish, editing, publishing, all that, and it's a lot of work. And you know that there are pieces of that you could absolutely have someone else do, and it would free your time up more to focus on the content creation, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's right.
Okay. So I'm just gonna let that kind of sit on the shelf for a minute. The fact that if content creation is the thing, then it's, you know, it's getting some ways to how can you free up more of your time for that, you know, by helping build a team to do some of the other parts, right? Is what I hear you saying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Are there ways that you could reach more people or impact more people that wouldn't involve content creation?
Maybe. Well, I don't know. Maybe could be leveraging my actual content, because, well, I've been writing for about 5 years now. There's a lot of content there that, of course, could be recycled or repurposed.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's something that might work.
Because right now you have really good organic search rankings. So a lot of people just find you doing searches on Google, right?
Yeah.
Have you ever used any paid advertising to get your content in front of more people?
Paid advertising for what?
For example, have you ever run Facebook ads to, you know, to get your content in front of more people?
Yeah. I regularly use Facebook, for example, to promote some of my posts or my videos. Yeah.
Okay.
Not on a regular basis, but from time to time I do it.
Have you gotten good results when you've done that?
Well, not as good as I would like, because I've noticed that Facebook, well, people browsing Facebook has a tiny span of attention, actually. And most of my content is like 20 minutes, 10 minutes long. So most of my viewers, my paid viewers, are not going through all my material. So my ROI is not that huge as it should be, I think.
Okay. How do you make money on your blog currently?
Well, basically, I do affiliate marketing with several institutions or companies. I generate qualified leads, most of them investment leads. So people see my posts or my videos, and they like the investment options I talk about. They click my links, they go through them to them, and then open their investment accounts. So that's how I get paid, a small commission, a small percentage of the money they invest, or a fixed rate per lead. It depends on each institution or company.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's say that you had like $1 million in the bank, or I don't know what the exchange rate's at right now. Let's put like 15, 20 million. Okay. Let's put 20 million pesos in your bank account, that you can live off of. So you don't have to worry about income one little bit for the next year, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
If you were in that position and you could do absolutely anything in your business that you wanted to help people, because I've heard you say you want to help people be able to say adiós to their jefe, goodbye to their boss, right?
Yeah, that's right.
What would you do to help them?
Yeah, well, I basically would keep doing most of the same things I'm doing at this point, creating more content, sharing my journey, my experience, and giving maybe I could be able to interact more with a lot of people. Maybe I would try to be on live events, or I don't know, maybe interacting with more people basically, and creating more content, of course. Mm-hmm. I think that at this point, I'm not pursuing, or how do you say, pursuing money.
You're not pursuing money.
Pursuing.
Yep.
Yeah, because I really enjoy what I'm doing. So if I had $1 million on my bank account, I probably would use it to buy a house and keep doing the same things I'm doing at this point.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Basically. Mm-hmm.
Do you have any team members right now?
Well, I have a friend of mine. It's my partner on the Amazon side. He does basically all the prep and shipping stuff, because most of my products are made in Mexico. So he makes the sourcing, the prep, the shipping, all that stuff, which is the very heavy lifting on the labor side of the Amazon business, as you may know. So that's a really important thing. And my wife helps me with listing new products on Amazon, and to buy reorder products, and optimizing listings, all that stuff. Mm-hmm. But other than that, I don't have any new team member. But recently I partnered with a friend of mine, which has an actual team, a sales team for selling online courses. And now we are trying to build these live events business. So it may be called a team, because we recently get four new members to the sales team. In total is around 10 people on that business.
Okay. What's the work that you're doing in your business right now that you would love to stop doing?
Well, I think I would love to stop trying to answer all the comments on my blog and on my YouTube channel and my email. Answering mails and that stuff really absorbs a lot of time. Mm-hmm. I would enjoy to be able to just delegate that, but sometimes I think it's not possible, because they ask specific questions that I struggle to I don't know how to say it, but to teach to another people, to another anyone.
Sure.
I don't. Yeah.
So there,
I think.
it sounds like there's a concern that there are some questions that you get either as comments on the blog or by email that it feels like maybe only you can answer.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right? Okay.
Sometimes it is, I think. But I don't know, maybe not.
How many questions a day or how much time are you spending a day answering questions and comments and emails?
Well, I try to batch them on a weekly basis, but I think it takes like between 2-3 hours per week to answer, and it's been increasing for the last 2 years. So if things are keep growing at the same rate, maybe in 1 year from now it would take like 5 hours per week.
Which you said earlier, it takes a couple hours per blog post. So you're talking about giving away 2 blog articles in exchange for answering questions?
Yeah, that's right.
If you ever were going to, this is going to be a cheap shot. You ready for a cheap shot? If you ever were going to hire somebody or get some help in whatever way that looks like, would it be better to do that when there are fewer questions, or a year from now when there's 3 or 4 times as many questions?
Maybe I probably should be doing it right now before it gets to
Okay, a better question then actually would be, you mentioned that you are worried that there would be some questions, or, from your experience, there are questions that you just, you probably would be the best person to answer them. Of the 2 or 3 hours that you're spending right now, how much of that is questions that are like kind of the same thing? And how much of it is questions that are unique that really, make you go, and then you actually have to write a good answer for?
Well, I think 70-80% are almost the same questions over and over, just framed on a different way, of course, but they gravitate around the same ideas. Most of them are related to people who is looking for a loan. And well, here in Mexico, there is a lot of frauds on that industry. A lot of people get scammed every day because there are some institutions that are supposedly lending money to them, but in exchange for maybe a early payment or in anticipation of the loan. And they do that and never receive the money. So a lot of people is asking me, hey, have you checked this? It is legal. It is trustful, trusty. I don't know. And I want to help them. I want to warn them about it. So I built a chatbot to answer them. And it helped. Basically, it answers all that questions for me. I use Chatfuel, and it was I implemented it like 4 months ago, and it worked nicely. So, but still, the other 20% of the questions are more related to investments that at this point I know that I don't know anyone who can answer it for me.
Okay.
When the person asks a question like that, so this question is going to get at like impact and how you can spend, every minute reaching the most people. So when somebody asks a question like that, it's one person, and then you spend your time and you write an answer. At least it's posted publicly, so some people could come back and read it. But would there be any other? This is a true question, not I don't know yet. Is there any other way that you could be spending your time to answer the question, but also taking that time and like leveraging it where it could be amplified? Like, I'm not going to give you any ideas yet. I just thought of one, but I'm going to ask you. Is there any way where you could answer that question in a way that would be a lot more public? So then as you answer that question, it doesn't just help that one person, you know, in the comments, but it would help lots more people on your list, people you're in front of, anybody finding it?
Yeah, well, I was thinking about doing live streaming with, you know, Ask Me Anything or something like that. Mm-hmm. And that would be a great way, I think, to answer those questions mm-hmm. and make them more publicly. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I don't know what do you think about it?
Hey, who asked the questions here?
We're on this live stream right now, and not a ton of people tune in yet, but you have Monica on here asking questions, you know, interested to know, how did you start selling on the internet? How much money did you need? How much time did it take to grow the business? So there's at least a tiny little bit of evidence right there that if you get on a live stream and some people are watching you, they may have questions they would like to ask you.
Yeah. So then the question for you to investigate, this is more tactical, is how do I make sure that doesn't be an and, but an instead? Like instead of spending my time here, I'm going to do it here, rather than I have to spend my time here and now I have to spend it over here, right? So how do you take those questions and have a good system or whatever for taking them, answering them in a different way, or telling people, hey, I'll answer that on tomorrow's live, or, you know, whatever it is, some way that it's a not, you know, with little friction. How do you take the person who has a question, answer it live so everybody can see it, but then also, you know, connect it back to the person who originally asked it or whatever?
Well,
those aren't the things that should get stuck.
Yeah. Because, for example, I could do a live stream, basically me reading all the questions and answer them one by one. Maybe. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. And we don't have to get way down in the weeds right now on all the, like, how you do that. But you know, the question is at least out there for you to consider, you know, is there a way you could do that? I have another question, which is, all right, so we're talking about answering questions and blog comments and stuff. Is that the only thing you would like to stop doing? So you said that's like 5 hours a week, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I do already. I do all the how do you say, the invoicing, payments, account. Well, not the accounting exactly, but I provide all the information to my accountant.
Like all the bookkeeping kind of.
Yeah, I have an accountant at this point, but I still the person who is providing them or providing him with the data, the information, everything he needs. So maybe that kind of activities could be delegated to another one, maybe a new member of the team. I don't know.
Okay, all right. So that's one. Some bookkeeping, accounting type stuff. What else? Is there other stuff?
The editing is I think, the editing of my videos. On my YouTube channel, I started publishing videos like 5-6 months ago. I try to post each week. Sometimes I'm not able to do it, but the plan is to maybe publish 2 per week. But for example, on a video 20 minutes long, I could record it in maybe 40, and the editing could take 2 hours, 2, even 3, depending on the topic. Because I do, it's not only me speaking, it's about showing how a platform works, for example. So it really takes a lot of time to edit. And I should be delegating that too, maybe.
And why aren't you?
What am I doing that?
Why aren't you delegating those things?
Why? Well, I don't know. Maybe I want to do it all by myself. I really struggle with that because uh, I don't know, because I'm not a pro in editing. I think that I'm not as good as I could, but I
So you're
maybe,
not the world's best video editor. Is
yeah.
that what you just told us?
Yeah, but
Okay.
and I don't know. Maybe I haven't taken the time to really look for another to someone to help me on that. Uh,
Are you
that
afraid of having the money to pay him?
no, not really money. I think it's a thing about the quality of the editing. Uh, I don't know. I think that's all.
Is it okay? You already said you're not super great at video editing, right? Like
Mhm.
obviously you're doing a decent job because you're doing it, right? Um, but do you think are there video editors out there that like just skill wise and overall video editing would have like the same skill set that you have, if not better?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
So yeah.
Are you worried about them knowing exactly how to pull which pieces together to really get the overall message across?
Well, my thought was, well, I need to publish for at least X amount of videos for someone be able to really go through them and see how I like it, or my editing style, so they can replicate it. But at this point, I think I have not reached that my style. I have not found my style, or the way my videos would be edited on my own. I don't know how to say it in English, but I have not reached good quality in editing.
Okay.
On my own standards and my imaginary standards.
Yeah. So, so you can keep doing it yourself like you're doing now. And if you put out 2 videos a week, then 2 or 3 hours per video, there goes another 5 hours a week editing, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you can keep doing that 5 hours a week yourself if you want, right? Is could a video editor go on this journey with you? And as you continue to learn and kind of find what your style is, you keep communicating and giving feedback to them like, yes, I like this. No, I don't like that.
Yeah. 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 That sounds great. I think I should be doing it at this point. I have like 25 videos uploaded at this point. So I think it's a nice amount of, because yeah, I was
First of all, let's stop for a second right there. You have 25 videos uploaded to YouTube. So good job. Again, you know, you started that blog 5 years ago, right?
Yeah.
You know, you're getting 60,000 some odd visitors a month to your blog. Like you've left your job. There's so much that you're doing so well here in your business. So you know, we're kind of drilling in and like poking at the areas where you say you want to get better, but like I don't want, like in that, I don't want to get lost. Like, man, you're doing some awesome stuff. You got 25 videos up. So I'm sorry, keep going.
Thank you very much. It has above 1,300 subscribers at this point.
Okay.
And it's doing awesome because, well, I know that most people struggles to really, you know, make it grow, make their YouTube channel grow. Most of them quit after a couple of months because no one is seeing their videos. I have the privilege that I already have an audience around my blog. So a lot of people is visiting my YouTube channel because of that.
Wait, they're coming to your YouTube channel because of you and your content, or because of your awesome video editing?
I think because thanks to Google.
Is it possible that even if the style was a little different, that people would still come over there? Even if you couldn't find somebody to come and replicate your style?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I think anyone could do better than me. Anyone who is really focusing on this, on editing, could do better. I really suck on that.
I think it's time for you to fire yourself on that one.
Yeah, thanks.
But really, what is, like, if you said, all right now we're gonna hang up, I'm gonna go find someone to do the editing. What's the first, like, lurch for you? What's your worry that you would want to overcome?
Well, I don't know. Well, maybe I was thinking about looking for someone at Upwork, for example, or any platform, Fiverr, to really find someone to help me. And I think it's a matter of time. It took too much time to do it, but yeah, you're absolutely right.
Have you ever hired somebody on one of those before?
Yeah, I've hired for editing and my designs, for example, logos. For my books, my books designs, things like that. So I'm
comfortable with the platform, comfortable with finding someone and all that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And how many more blog posts would you be able to do every week if you let somebody else edit the video?
Maybe a couple, two or three, because I really want to focus on podcasting. Maybe I wouldn't increase my posting rate on video or writing.
Yeah.
But would focus on podcasting because I see a huge opportunity there.
Yeah.
I think what you just said is the ultimate question of where we're of something for you to keep thinking about. Is it sounds like so far we have freed up possibly 10 or 12 hours for you every week, because you're going to get all this stuff right in whatever way you think is fit. And I think the thing for you to start thinking about is, like, very truly, like very honestly, I'm about to free up some time. What are the ways that I can start having more reach and start having more impact on people? Like opening up the podcast and thinking to yourself, what are the other ways? Like, who else should I be looking for? Who are the people that I should be going for? What other platforms should I be on? Because you're about to have some serious time on your hands to be able to go and, like, really have some impact here. More impact.
Yeah. I'm thinking about podcasting and Instagram. I'm not doing Instagram. I don't know why, but I'm not. And I think I should.
We've been saying the same thing to ourselves.
In fact, if our friend Jason Miles gets on this at all, this has been sitting on my desk for about 2 weeks, and I've read about 3 pages of it. And every time I see it, I leave it here to remind myself, I gotta get one chapter a day. I could do that.
No, I have the same issue. I actually bought that book, the same very book of Jason. I haven't read it. Yeah,
so,
I'm stuck.
All right, so we've been on here for like an hour, and we're gonna wrap up soon. We're still kind of getting these things figured out, and I don't know. This may be like way too long for people to stick with us on Facebook Live or podcast. I don't know. My wife just joined us. Hey, babe. But if there's something, do you have a few more minutes? Because there's something that we're kind of circling around here that I would love to just ask a couple more questions about, if you want to spend a few more minutes on it.
Yeah, sure. Of course.
All right. And Dwayne just joined us. Hey, Dwayne. Good to have you. Okay. So, you've identified, kind of where we started was that you want to get your time freed up to focus on the most important things in the business, and you want to grow a team. And you've talked about things that you could potentially turn over to other people, like answering emails and blog comments and stuff. You've talked about some bookkeeping, accounting type things. You've talked about editing. And what what we're really trying to drill down into here is, because I hear you saying that it would make sense to do it and you want to do it. I want to know what's keeping you from doing it. Why haven't you done it yet?
Yeah, I think it's an ego thing. I think I have the idea. Maybe it's my ego. I think no one can do better than me. Maybe for example, answering questions, because I am really an obsessive person about, for example, the correct spelling, the correct writing. You know, I don't know how to say it in English.
Sure.
But any error in, I'm always looking for errors. Yeah, I don't know.
You sound like me. I struggle with these things, by the way.
Yeah, I think it's my ego. Sometimes I have to overcome that and be, because as you said, Daniel, I should find myself in a lot of things that I'm doing at this point. A lot of people better than me, of course.
So it sounds like maybe there's some fear around this. Maybe there's some fear that it just won't be good enough. It just won't be up to your standards. Maybe something along those. It sounds like, tell me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like there's just kind of some fear around letting go of some of the control in some of these areas. Would that be accurate?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
That's absolutely.
All right. So that, to the extent that fear influences your decisions, then that fear is kind of a boss right now. So I want to see in our last few minutes here if we can help say goodbye to that boss. Adiós a tu jefe, which
sure
is fear in this case, right?
Yeah, it's my own boss.
All right. So out of the, we've mentioned editing, video editing that could possibly be outsourced, or podcast content editing. We've talked about some bookkeeping stuff. We've talked about asking questions. Is there one of those that if you were going to pay someone else to do it would be like the easiest one to like, you feel like it'd be the easiest one that you could maybe trust someone else to do it?
Yeah, I think the editing part of the process should be the easiest, and answering questions on my different platforms, I think that those would be the easiest ones to delegate. Yeah.
You've already taught a computer bot to answer a lot of your questions. So either you have the bot answering all the questions that possibly can, or if you can get a bot to answer your questions for you, then surely if you're able to train people to do online businesses, then I would be pretty confident that you can also train someone to answer questions. Yeah. That's just a comment. But on your videos, so let's say you hired someone, could you go on Upwork or Fiverr or wherever and have someone do one video?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What would be the simple test to have, pretend you had 10 people applying? What would be the simple test to have them build trust with you, where you'd feel comfortable enough working with them?
Well, what I would do is record a short video about 5 minutes long and upload it to my Google Drive or Dropbox, share them the link to the file, and wait for them to edit it. And maybe, I don't know, maybe I should provide them with maybe some logos or banners or images that I would like to add to the video, and see how it results, and compare them, take a decision. I think that would be my best approach.
If you hate the work, then you don't have to upload it to YouTube, right?
Yeah, of course. Well, or I could upload it privately and delete it if I don't like it.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, if you gave someone a video and some of the assets like you talked about and logo and stuff like that and said, here, go edit this for me. This is what I want, finished product. Could you check that finished product before it went live on YouTube? You know?
Yeah.
That's what I hear you saying. You could, right? And if you didn't like it, like, you know how to edit your own videos, you've been doing it. So you could always just then do it, right?
Yeah.
Hector, you mentioned that you were having, if I understood it right, you were trying to figure out what your style is.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
Did I understand? Yeah, my editing style. Mm-hmm. Yeah, mm-hmm. Sure.
Could you, at the same time that you give them, you know, this raw file, like to do test on, do you think that you could just kind of verbally walk through, like record another video for just a couple minutes, like, hey, I pulled up a couple of my YouTube videos. I wanted to show you just what I've been doing, and this is the feel that I'm going for. Look at this transition. I like it because of this. Look at this fade. I like it because of this. Look at how I cropped this and did this video, you know, this inset. I like that. Just kind of as training, and let that be your very first version. Mm-hmm. Do you think that would convey enough, or that you would be able to communicate, like, that you have identified your style enough to be able to convey it in that way?
Yeah, I think that would be good enough for them to be able to get a good idea of what I'm looking for. Yeah, that's right. What else? Well, and the same for podcasting, right? Because it's basically the same. But podcasting, I have not started to create content, and that's my main focus this year. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because writing, the writing, I think it's really difficult to replicate. For example, I tried to delegate that. You know, my post writing. I was trying to record my audio, my voice, mm-hmm. For 10 minutes, and then you know, let them transcript them. Mm-hmm. But I didn't like the results because it wasn't my voice, you know.
Yeah.
And I think that bad experience. So I transpolate that experience to the editing, but it's not the same. It's different. Mm-hmm.
All right, so we're gonna have to kind of wind this up here. But are we getting to the heart of the matter, or is there something deeper than this that's holding you up from? I mean, we won't have time to go way down another road, but I'm just curious, you know, even just for you to ask yourself after this call, are we getting to the heart of the matter as far as the things that are holding you up from bringing on people to help in these areas, or is there any deeper reason that's keeping you doing it?
Well, I think, what the first one is the ego thing, the assumption that no one can do better, mm-hmm. which is obviously is wrong. But the other one, I think sometimes I'm afraid of being to get famous, you know, to be too easily recognizable on the street, you know, because when I started building this thing, my main goal was to make a good amount of money, and that no one would be able to you know, to really know how much money I was making. The silent sales thing.
Yeah.
But if I get to you know, if my audience and my reach keeps growing, I would lose that. I would lose my anonymity. I don't know how to say the anonymity.
Yeah, your anonymity.
Yeah, I think that's a fear that really it's pushing me back sometimes.
Okay. All right, man, we could do a whole nother call starting right there. But I think you just hit something really, really important. So as we wrap up here, we're going to give you a little exercise that we would encourage you to do. Okay. And we'll send you a follow-up message with a couple notes from this call. We'll put this in here. But here's what I would encourage you to do. And I'm saying this for the benefit of those watching too. What you just said is, I think another thing holding me back is I'm afraid of getting famous. There's a comfort in the anonymity. By the way, I get that. Like, I have had some very similar struggles that have held me back in my own business. I get that. So the exercise for you to do is to ask yourself, and I would, if you're up for it, I would even get out like a pen and paper and write down physically some, there you go. You have all your notes right there. Write down some answers to this and start at the top of the page. Why am I afraid of getting famous? And write down whatever comes to mind. And whatever comes to mind, then ask another why and say, why is that? Or why that thing? And whatever answer you get there, say, why is that? And just keep asking layers of why until you feel like you've gotten to the absolute bottom of like what's going on, what is my fear?
Sure.
What is my fear? Because it sounds like the fear is the thing that, and this is for every one of us, every entrepreneur, right? Like fear is like the thing that holds us back. Like every time we talk, Daniel and I, every time we dig deep on whatever in business, like we do the same process with each other, there's always some fear. So it's just like uncovering those fears, shining the light on them. And as soon as we shine the light on them, all of a sudden they're not nearly so strong and scary as they seemed, and then you say goodbye to that fear boss. So, yeah,
sure. Yeah. I have something like this.
There you go.
Why try to get too famous? Why is that? Why is that? Why is that? I think, because, maybe it's a thing like, how Mexico is about the insecurity and the, napping, drug cartels. It can get really, really dangerous here. So maybe that's my main fear. That if I get too famous, I would be forced to live in another country, maybe.
Okay.
Or leaving my family, not my wife and my baby, but my mom, my cousins,
Yeah.
Everyone.
All right. Well, there's some good stuff there to process through under that, and what once you get to that bottom line, if it's what you just said or whatever, then what can be done about that, or are there other ways to look at this? But anyway, want to thank you so much for the time that you spent here. I think people who've been watching this and people who watch this recording or listen to it are going to get a lot out of this. For one, just a lot of inspiration and motivation from all the things you've done, building successful Amazon business and a blog that's your primary income stream, and being able to leave your job and support yourself and stuff. So, man, you're rocking. It's been a privilege having you on here, and just want to say congratulations to all the success.
Thank you.
Business.
Thank you very much, Chris. I really appreciate that and your input, your insights. I think I'll be thinking about this for a couple of days, and let's see what came out. And I thank you very much for this opportunity. And we'll still keep in touch, of course.
Yes, we will.
Hope to see you again next CES in Indiana.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I look forward to the next time we cross paths as well at a conference. So if you get any big light bulb moments in the next couple of days as you process, come post a little update over on the Leake Brothers Facebook page. And, so people can kind of hear the aftermath of like, here's what you're discovering as you process through things.
Oh yeah, of course. I'll do it. Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yep.
Thanks, Hector.
Adiós a tu Jefe is his website. We will have that in the show notes. So thanks, Hector.
Adiós.
Yeah.
Muchas gracias.
Bye.
Adiós. Gracias.
Bye.
Igualmente.
Gracias. Bye.
Bye.